Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 23 of What's Better, Raw or Smackdown? And this could end up being, like one of the best episodes of this show just because of the fact that this is the go home show for both Raw and Smackdown before WrestleMania this Sunday, which is going to be pretty damn interesting. We're going to have a lot of stuff going into WrestleMania this Sunday. They're going to really try to put over some WrestleMania angles. And this is pretty much the last week for WWE to really want to hype me up to watch WrestleMania this Sunday. They did it a little bit last week, but they didn't do maybe just enough to where I want to. I am dying to see WrestleMania. So I definitely think that this week's the last week, and let's hope that WWE can finally hype me up to see WrestleMania. They have a lot of things coming out, so we're gonna have to wait and see if that can happen. I expect maybe like a few more matches to get added like to each show and stuff because there's a lot of people that are on the roster and are in a pretty big role, but they don't have matches at WrestleMania yet. So let's see if that happens, and let's see which one is better. The past couple of weeks SmackDown's been better, so Raw has a lot of the past superstars showing up there. So and they're gonna probably do a lot of stuff on Raw, on SmackDown. They have some stuff going on for WrestleMania as well, so we're gonna have to wait and see. So yeah, I'm actually kind of excited, to see what Raw and SmackDown does to finally hype us up for WrestleMania. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by previewing tonight's Raw for March 27th, 2017. We have a pretty big episode of Monday Night Raw coming up tonight. Like I said, final Raw before WrestleMania. We've got some huge stuff announced for the show, so let me just read my preview. The first article is called Goldberg and Brock Lesnar Under the Same Roof. Universal Champion Goldberg has exuded confidence during his recent encounters with Brock Lesnar, but after absorbing a wind-shaken F5 the night after WWE Fastlane, the WCW icon might not be as sure of himself when he stands across the ring from the Beast Incarnate at WrestleMania, where Raw's most elite prize will be on the line. 6 nights before the Ultimate Thrill Ride, that is WrestleMania 33, Goldberg and Lesnar's path will cross in Philadelphia. Will these Raging Bulls lock horns on the final Raw before the battle on the grandest stage of them all? I could give less of a crap about this match. I don't want to see this Universal title match. I've talked about it a lot, but let's see what happens going into this Universal title match this Sunday, what they do with it this Sunday going into WrestleMania. I expect like Heyman to talk, maybe security to surround the ring to make sure that nobody gets involved, and they try to get at each other and it doesn't happen, and then it ends with Goldberg standing tall because Lesnar's probably winning Sunday. But let's see what happens. So the next article is called Will Seth Rollins sign Triple H's hold harmless agreement? Even though his doctors shudder at the thought, the recently injured Seth Rollins is set on coming to WrestleMania to settle the score with Triple H, the man who masterminded Samoa Joe's assault on the Architect's right knee back in January. Because of that heinous ambush, Rollins was expected to miss this year's WrestleMania entirely, and Triple H's subsequent assault on the injured knee earlier this month only bolstered those doubts. Yet, in light of the WWE Universe's continued support for the Architect, the game has extended an offer to the would-be Kinslayer if Rollins signs a hold harmless agreement this coming Monday night. He will face the Cerebral Assassin in a non-sanctioned match at WrestleMania. Should Rollins sign the document, neither Triple H nor WWE will be legally responsible for what happens to the recovering superstar. Is Rollins willing to risk it all for the chance at retribution against the King of Kings? We'll find out on Raw. So I totally expect Seth Rollins to sign these papers, and we're going to finally get the match between Seth Rollins and Triple H. This is actually a segment I'm looking forward to on the show, and I can't wait to see what happens when it comes down with when it comes down to see Triple H and Seth Rollins in the same ring together, cutting promos on each other, and I can't wait to finally see this match between Seth Rollins and Triple H at WrestleMania. It's a match that's been built up for 2 years now, so I expect it to happen. Next article was called Can Bayley Rebound Before WrestleMania's Fatal 4-Way Match? It's not often that one goes into WrestleMania as both a champion and an underdog, but that seems to be the case for Bayley. After being defeated by both Sasha Banks and Nia Jax in recent weeks, what could have been a one-on-one title defense against Charlotte Flair has transformed into a ruleless fatal 4-way match where she has only a 25% chance of retaining her prize. After suffering a decisive loss to Nia this past Monday night, the Huggable One will need to pick up some key momentum before the biggest match of her career during the Ultimate Thrill Ride. Can Bayley's positive attitude propel her past her recent defeats at WrestleMania as WrestleMania fast approaches? I personally don't care about this Raw Women's Championship match. The article pretty much says it all. It should be a one-on-one match between Bayley and Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title. I've been talking about it, and the fact that they didn't go with it is dumb, so I don't have a lot to say about this match. And then the next article is called Raw Left Without a General Manager. This past Monday night, Raw Commissioner Stephanie McMahon unceremoniously ousted General Manager Mick Foley using the two words that seemed to come naturally to members of her family. You're fired. Now mere days before WrestleMania, Raw was left without a GM, and with so many high-profile team-led matches at the Ultimate Thrill Ride on April 2nd, one wonders if Stephanie is looking for someone new to quickly fill the vacant position, or if she will take on the responsibilities of running the show herself, as she did on Monday after Foley was forced to leave the building. Either way, Raw's management, or lack thereof, should prove interested in Philadelphia this Monday. Probably not a lot's going to happen with that, but I do expect them to, Stephanie McMahon, not on this show, but probably maybe next week's show, to maybe announce a new general manager for Raw, which would be pretty interesting. So I'm gonna wait and see what happens with that. Then we have the next article is called Can Chris Jericho Get Even with Kevin Owens Following Last Week's Attack? On a special edition of the Highlight Reel, United States Champion Chris Jericho exposed Kevin Owens as a longtime fan of Jericho, who idolized the Ayatollah of rock and roller as a teenager. The revelation didn't exactly sit well with the prizefighter, who ambushed his former best friend before destroying the list of Jericho, which I hated because I love the list of Jericho. Moments later, Owens told WWE.com that even though he was entertained by Jericho growing up, the U.S. title match at WrestleMania, and this is a quote from him, is not going to be about entertainment, and that the WWE Universe will be absolutely disturbed by what he does to Chris Jericho. Given Owens' actions and harsh words this Monday night, how will the U.S. champion respond in Philadelphia? So I am kind of looking forward to it because Owens versus Jericho for the U.S. title is one of the matches I'm looking forward to at WrestleMania, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. So, yeah, interesting to see what happens there. Then we have the last article was called Has the Undertaker Gotten Inside Roman Reigns' Head? The Undertaker emerged in Brooklyn to strike fear into the heart of Roman Reigns, but the big dog was ready, delivering a thunderous spear that left the dead man dazed, but only for a moment. Like a scene out of a slasher flick, the Undertaker snapped up from the supine position and rose to his feet, letting the big dog know in no uncertain terms that it will take more than a spear to keep the Phenom off his feet. As an eerie mist surrounded him on the entrance ramp, Reigns' gaze struck at his opponent, at his otherworldly WrestleMania opponent. Perhaps this isn't Reigns' yard after all. So yeah, I guess it will be interesting to see what they do with Reigns and Taker. Still not really sure how the match is going to be because of the shape and condition that the Undertaker is in, and because of his dance partner. I'm not saying that Reigns is a bad wrestler, but I don't know if Reigns has the ability to carry a good match. So we're gonna have to wait and see. But I am interested to see what happens with Roman Reigns and the Undertaker, and I'm interested to see what happens with Seth Rollins, Triple H, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, and that's really about it on the show. There's some things I'm looking forward to on the show, and I'm interested to see what else they do to push WrestleMania angles. So before I end off this part, let's when we finish it off by saying, don't miss the final Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania at 8/7 Central on USA Network. Then after Raw, tune into WWE Network for WWE 24 WrestleMania Monday, which takes you behind the curtain of the wackest night after WrestleMania 32, featuring AJ Styles, Enzo Amore, Big Cass, The Miz, and Maurice. So that's definitely something interesting to watch there. But yeah, let's see what happens on Raw tonight. I'll be back after the show's over to give you my review, and that's but I'll be back to give you my review of Raw and give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so first we have the WWE.com exclusive video, and pretty much they announced backstage a few matches. They mentioned that at the last show before WrestleMania for Raw, and we found out a huge announcement for the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. We find out that it's now going to be an elimination match, so I think that's, I guess, pretty interesting, makes the match better, but I still don't really care about that match. And they announced a tag team match between Charlotte and Nia Jax versus Bayley and Sasha Banks, so that's that. This was fine. Okay, so we have the actual show itself. I just finished watching it not that long ago. And we had Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Byron Saxton on commentary for this show. And it shows like the WWE intro video, where it has like the big intro, where it shows now, then, and forever. It kind of goes through all the history of WWE and everything. And doing this, it shows like Undertaker's like Titantron keeps cutting in his, and it shows him at a grave site. And there's more on this later, but I thought it was kind of cool. It was actually unexpected. Like, it kind of shows like what Undertaker can do. He can just his mind games can just show up randomly. But I thought it was kind of cool. So we had the first match on the show. It was a tag team match: Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair. Before the match starts, Bayley cuts a promo, like it's just her out in the ring, and she cuts a promo talking about how it's WrestleMania time, and how it's her favorite day of the year. She talks about, how normally her and a few friends would pile money up together, and they would beg her dad to they would beg their parents to be able to buy and order WrestleMania. And then lately she's just been wrestling all over the globe. She's been wrestling down in NXT, but it doesn't really feel real to actually be competing at WrestleMania. And it feels like a dream come true. And then Charlotte Flair comes out, and she says that the dream of getting there as a paper champion, because you would not be the Raw Women's Champion if it wasn't for Sasha Banks. And she talks about how Sasha Banks, how she defeated Sasha Banks at Roadblock end of the line in the Iron Man match, which meant that Sasha Banks was completely out of the title picture. And she knew that if Bayley had won the Raw Women's title, that she would get a Raw Women's Championship match. And Bayley says that you're just jealous that I have beaten you, and you're just arrogant. And Charlotte Flair continues to go off on it, saying that she's not a real champion. And she says that Sasha Banks is just using her. She's just going to end up turning on you, and eventually, and she's going to eventually become the new Raw Women's Champion. And she shows a photo of Sasha Banks and Charlotte like a year ago. talking about how you keep your friends close and your enemies closer, and it shows them shaking hands after Sasha Banks had won the NXT Women's Championship. Then Sasha Banks comes out and she says that she's sick and tired of you trying to use our history to compare it with me and Bayley's history. Me and Bayley are grown-ups. We know when we have to get in the ring and fight each other. We get in the ring and fight each other because if it's a competition. And Charlotte Flair that says that she's lying. You don't think that Bayley can do it on her own. That's why you've had to constantly interfere, time in and time out, doing matches together, and I should be the Raw Women's Champion. Nia Jax comes out and says that all she's heard about since she's come to Raw was Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. And she talks about how all they do is just yell at each other like a couple of high school girls. And she said that she's going to dominate the match, eliminate them all one by one, and walk out the Raw Women's Champion. And then Charlotte Flair says something else about the friendship between Sasha Banks and Bayley. So Sasha Banks attacks Charlotte, Bayley attacks Nia Jax, and like a brawl breaks out in the beginning of the show. And this leads to the tag match. Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair start the match off. They chain wrestle each other, and then eventually they try to tag it. She tags in Nia Jax, and Bayley and Sasha Banks try to work together to take out Nia Jax, which is just kind of too powerful. Then they dominate Charlotte Flair for a while, and Charlotte Flair and Nia Jax dominate Bayley for a while. She gets the heat on her. Then eventually she gets the hot tag on Sasha Banks. She starts going off on Charlotte, and she beats the crap out of her. But then eventually Nia Jax, behind her back, which it was supposed to be, but you could totally see that she tags herself in, and the referee screams tag, so it was kind of dumb. Tags herself in, and she hits a hip attack off the, sending Sasha Banks crashing off the apron. So the heels get the heat on Sasha Banks for a while, so eventually, and then eventually Bayley gets the hot tag, starts going off on Charlotte Flair, hits all the moves on her, and Nia Jax ends up breaking up the pinfall, so Sasha Banks takes her out. Nia Jax tries to slam her on the outside. Sasha Banks throws her into the steel steps, and then Bayley hits a Bayley to belly on Charlotte for the win. And I thought that made sense to have Bayley get the pinfall since she kind of needed some momentum going into this Raw Women's title match. I thought that was fine. And afterwards, Nia Jax lays them both out. She hits the leg drop across the spine on Sasha Banks. She hits the Samoan drop on Bayley, and then she just completely takes out Charlotte with, I guess, a clothesline, or just throws all the weight at her. I don't even know what it's called. And she holds up the Raw Women's title and pretty much indicates that she's going to walk out as the new Raw Women's Champion. Really didn't care much for the match, though, not going to lie. It was just boring. I think we've seen this exact match before, and I'm never interested in it. I think that there's been we've seen all of these women wrestle each other so often. We've seen Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair wrestle countless times. That feud should have been over. We've seen Bayley and Charlotte Flair wrestle a bunch of times. We've seen Sasha Banks and Nia Jax wrestle a bunch of times. We've seen Bayley and Nia Jax wrestle a bunch of times. It's just they only have really these four women in the women's division, and that's kind of all you can really do. So yeah, that's how it is. So I totally see though Sasha Banks though turning on Bayley after and winning the Raw Women's title and turning heel because I think that makes sense. Either that or Bayley wins. I'm still kind of unsure about that. I don't think Bayley's walking out as champion, so I think there is going to be a new champion. I don't think it's going to be Charlotte Flair. I don't think it's going to be Nia Jax. I think it is going to be Sasha Banks. But overall, I just don't have any interest in this match. Like I said, should have been a one-on-one match with Charlotte Flair and Bayley for the Raw Women's title. So that's just how I feel. And then Sami Zayn gets interviewed, and he talks about Mick Foley getting fired, and he says that Mick Foley had given a lot and helped all the superstars along the way, and it sucked that he had to get fired before WrestleMania. And he says that, being here today, you could definitely feel his presence gone. So he says that we have to start making opportunities for ourselves and start rising up. So Sami Zayn wants to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He says that he wants to be in this match because of the and he wants to dedicate it to Mick Foley, who's someone that he looks at, who's somebody that he looks up to. And Stephanie McMahon comes up and says, you know, I would love to. That's cool that you get to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And she says that she would like the trophy to come over to Raw, but you can't. You have to earn your shot here. You can't just instantly get a chance to. You can't just instantly announce yourself to be in a match at WrestleMania. So she puts him in a match with Kevin Owens in a no disqualification match, and if he wins, he gets put in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. If he loses, he's fired. So, and you know, this is a big match day because you don't want to get fired like the Raw before WrestleMania. So, you know, it's a big match for Sami Zayn. I mean, I didn't mind it too much because it's building that tension between Sami Zayn and Stephanie McMahon. The thing I don't get though is why is other people later on in the show announced themselves to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and there's already been people previously that have announced themselves as participants in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and they didn't have to earn their shot. Obviously, this is just a fuck with Sami Zayn, but I don't really get why they did that. So then we had the next match. It was Austin Aries versus Noam Dar with Alicia Fox ringside with Neville on commentary for this match. This match was okay. This match was all right. Austin Aries hits a drop kick in the corner right off the bat, and Noam Dar dominates him for a while, and then Austin Aries starts to make his comeback. He hits a suicide dive through the ropes, and then eventually Neville's having a stare down with him too, and eventually Aries goes for the discus 5-arm, but Alicia Fox gets on the apron, which distracts Austin Aries. Noam Dar tries to roll him up. Aries kicks out. Then Aries hits the forearm, and then he hits the discus 5-arm for the win. And that was it. I thought this was fine. Then it shows another video package for The Undertaker. It shows him just kind of walking around his grave, and shows all his different graves of people who he's made rest in peace. I thought it was good. Then we had the contract signed in between Seth Rollins and Triple H. It showed Seth Rollins backstage, so we knew that he was here. So Seth Rollins just comes out and he instantly says, and he just wants Triple H to get out here. He just instantly calls him out. So Triple H comes out, and Triple H says that that you've agreed to be here. You've obviously agreed to sign the contract, but the condition is that you have to sit there and listen to all the demands for this contract, and if you attack me before you sign this contract, then the match is off. And Seth Rollins refuses. He says that I've been listening to you for years, just getting the win. And then Triple H is like, well, I guess the match is off then. So then he goes to walk away, and then Seth Rollins sits down, and Triple H is like, good dog, or good boy, and but he's saying it like he was a dog. So then Triple H mentions, that if you sign this contract, then you can't sue me, you can't sue Stephanie McMahon, you can't sue my family, you can't sue anybody in the WWE. And that means I can do whatever I want to you. I can beat the crap out of you if I want. And Seth Rollins says that he's realizes the consequences. Just give me the contract. And Triple H says, I don't really get it. Why you talk about how you looked at yourself in the mirror, you didn't like the person that you became, and then he says that apparently everybody thinks that being successful means that you're a joke, and he talks about how you looked at these people and you saw morality. These people are just jealous of you. That's why they chant for you. And he says that you talk about how you had lost sleep on some points. Who needs sleep anyways? I have $1 billion house. I'm running $1 billion company. I've been the most successful guy. And the fact that people end up hating you for what you did means that you are the best in the WWE, which I loved that promo. And Seth Rollins says that he just wants to sign the contract, so he does. And then Seth Rollins says that he says that he's had a lot of time to do some thinking. And he says that he realizes that he liked the old Seth Rollins, his old self. The guy that would wrestle in front of just for the price of a handshake and a hot dog. He said that he likes the Seth Rollins before he met Triple H. And then he brought into his bull crap and joined up with the Authority. And he ended up losing a lot of friendship. He lost a lot of his fans. And he said that none of this is just for WrestleMania. None of this is for myself. It's called redemption. He wants to rebuild. He wants to become the old Seth Rollins again. And he says that he's going to do that, and he's going to make sure that Triple H doesn't walk out of WrestleMania. Triple H says that he's willing to do the same thing to him. And Seth Rollins says that Triple H is going to have to rip his leg off and beat him with it. And then they sign the contract. They have a face-off. And then Triple H kicks the table into Seth Rollins' knee. He beats the crap out of him for a couple minutes. And he goes to hit him with a crutch. And Seth Rollins hits an enziguri on him. He goes for the pedigree. Triple H goes after the knee. He goes for a pedigree himself, but Rollins backdrops him out of the ring. And then Triple H tries to run back in the ring, and then Seth Rollins hits him in the back with a crutch, and then this causes Triple H to retreat. But it definitely shows that Seth Rollins was still injured. So this does show that Seth Rollins is going to be walking in with some lingering effects at WrestleMania. But yeah, I really enjoyed this segment. Just Seth Rollins and Triple H, just anytime they've been in a match together, anytime they've been in a segment together, they've just knocked it out of the park. So I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see them wrestle at WrestleMania. It's a match that has been building for 2 years. Really, I guess you could say it's been a match that's been building for a while. Then later on in the show, they show a video package between Seth Rollins and Triple H, and it shows Triple H bringing Seth Rollins into NXT, and Triple H being right there when Seth Rollins won the NXT Championship for the first time. The feuds together when Seth Rollins was in the Shield. And then Seth Rollins turning on the Shield, Seth Rollins being in the Authority, and then Triple H finally turning on him. Triple H cutting the promo the night after the Royal Rumble, talking about all this stuff, building up to it. Triple H costing Seth Rollins the spot to compete in the Royal Rumble match. Seth Rollins invaded NXT TakeOver San Antonio, and talking about who was that guy that wasn't the creator, that was a businessman. The night that Samoa Joe debuted and attacked Seth Rollins and injured him, and Seth Rollins rehabbing, trying to get back to WrestleMania, and Triple H laying out the challenge for the contract signing. And it doesn't show the contract signing since it just happened, but I expect when they show the video package that they will. So, I like that they show the video package. Hype me up to want to see WrestleMania, well, the match at WrestleMania. Then next we had a over the top rope challenge. This was kind of a way to build up to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and it's the I guess so. The way this works is, I guess it's like a Royal Rumble where every time a guy gets thrown out, but it's like a gauntlet in a way. Every time a guy gets thrown out, he has to come out. So it starts off with Big Show and Jinder Mahal. Big Show easily eliminates him. So then it's Bo Dallas. Big Show easily eliminates him, and then it's the Shining Stars. Big Show easily eliminates them. So then eventually, Curtis Axel and the Golden Truth come out, and they all just try to beat up the Big Show. Everybody just comes back in the win, and they all just eliminate the Big Show, which was kind of weird that they had Big Show get eliminated by pretty much people that are just jobbers at this point. So then this pisses Big Show off. So he gets in the win. He starts cleaning house. He chokeslams Jinder Mahal. He knocks out Bo Dallas. He chokeslams, I believe, Curtis Axel. He double chokeslams the Shining Stars. And, he just pretty much cleans house, though. And then the Golden Truth look at him, and they just ended up retreating. And then his music plays, and then Braun Strowman comes out. And he says that he could get in the ring and destroy him, but he doesn't want to do that right now. He wants to save his energy for WrestleMania. And he announces that he's going to win that he's going to compete in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So yeah, this segment was really a waste of time, really. It was just really a way to build up to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And like I said, So it makes no sense that these jobbers, except for maybe Strowman and Big Show, can just announce themselves into the Battle Royal, but Sami Zayn has to earn a shot to get in. I get they're trying to fuck with Sami Zayn, but still. Because a lot of these guys, Curtis Axel hasn't been seen on Raw in I don't know how long, so it makes no sense. But yeah, this segment really, I think it was just really there to make Big Show look like a monster, so that's really what it was there for. I don't really get why they had all the guys come out and just eliminate him, though. That was weird. So yeah, this segment was a waste of time. It did what it needed to do, I guess. And then Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson get interviewed, and Gallows and Anderson talk about how they didn't really want to work together with Enzo Amore and Big Cass because they're the ones that keep running their mouths, so it caused Cesaro and Sheamus to stay in the Raw Tag Team title match at WrestleMania, and they said they're gonna teach him a lesson. And Gallows impersonates Enzo Amore, which I thought was really funny. And they said that they're gonna teach him a lesson, and they're gonna make a statement going in before WrestleMania to prove why they're the Raw Tag Team champions. And then that was it. Okay promo. I thought Gallows was really funny. And then it has another Undertaker video package, and it shows Undertaker digging the grave for Roman Reigns, which I thought was pretty cool. And what I thought this segment, what these segments were building up to, was it was really going to be Roman Reigns all along, and this was a way that Roman Reigns was going to show that the mind games isn't going to work on the Undertaker. But then later on, because the next segment is him getting interviewed, and he actually was at the arena, so I actually had thought that Roman Reigns was going to be the one there, but which I thought would have been better actually than what they did actually, but it is what it is. But Roman Reigns says that I actually like what he says here, that he's not going to be somebody that plays into the mind games. He's not going to be somebody that believes in dead men. And he says that tonight he's going to address the whole situation that involved the Undertaker. So I thought that was a decent promo by Roman Reigns. And then we have the New York Stock Exchange with the New Day. So this was pretty funny. So the New Day, roaming around town in New York, just kind of hyping people up for WrestleMania. And so the New Day are posing around town, and they even take a picture with Rocky Balboa. So they do the whole scene where they have Rocky Balboa running up the steps. They're all gonna race, and Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are actually racing, and Big E's just taking his time eating cereal. And then when Kofi and Xavier Woods get there, we see Big E's just already up on the top of the steps, and he's won the race. So I took this as the tortoise and the rabbit story when they were racing, slow and steady wins the race. I thought that's what the joke that they were going for, but I guess that wasn't. So yeah, but I thought it was funny though. Then we had Cesaro and Sheamus get interviewed, and Sheamus and Cesaro talk about how they pulled off the odds to be able to stay in the Raw Tag Team title match. Cesaro talked about how he was not going to miss WrestleMania this year after missing WrestleMania last year. Sheamus talks about how they're doing this for Mick Foley, and he says that Gallows and Anderson talk a big game. And then we see, and then Gallows super kicks Cesaro, and Gallows and Anderson attacks Sheamus and Cesaro. Colin Anderson hits Sheamus in the back with a 2x4, and they beat the crap out of Cesaro with a ladder. And then they ram a ladder right into Cesaro, and he falls into a bunch of boxes. I actually thought this backstage assault was really good, and it made Gallows and Anderson look strong, so I thought that was cool. Then we had the next match. It was Neville versus Jack Gallagher. This match I thought was good. Then the Fastlane match they had a few weeks ago was way better, but I think they had more time then. But this match I still thought was pretty good. Neville hits a sick German suplex onto Jack Gallagher, and he dominates the matchup for a while. And then Jack Gallagher hits a sick headbutt and driving Neville out of the ring. And then he hits a Cena senton with using William III like Mary Poppins, which I thought was kind of funny. and then they continue fighting for a while. Then eventually Neville hits a super kick on Jack Gallagher, and Neville hits the superplex on the top rope, and he gets Jack Gallagher into the winds of Saturn, and Gallagher taps out. Which reminded me, Aries didn't win that beat Noam Dar with a discus form. He beat him with the last chance where he made him tap out, kind of trying to show that what Aries can do, Neville can do better. Afterwards, we have the A double report, which I thought was funny. Austin Aries interviews, and he says that you talked about how earlier tonight you're gonna retain the cruiserweight championship, and let me ask. I have a special guest that can answer that question for you. And I thought he was going to interview himself like he has been doing, but instead he interviews the New Day. And the New Day come up and says, "Well, that depends. Can you swing your hips?" And then Aries like, "Look, I'm trying to be a serious journalism here." And then he says, "Can Austin Aries win the WWE Cruiserweight Championship?" And then he said, and then they said that they because Neville can't swing like you. And I thought it was pretty funny, actually. It was awesome. And they clap and everything and do the Austin Aries, and I thought it was funny. Something I'm not really too happy about, though, is that Aries and Neville has now been kicked to the pre-show. Which I don't really get why they would kick to the pre-show. I can see maybe like if they went on the main WrestleMania card, they probably wouldn't get as big of a showcase because they have all these other matches there. But they just kind of were reestablished in the Cruiserweight division. You have Aries and Neville, who are two people that are well known. You know, they just did this whole thing with the Cruiserweight Classics, and you're just going to put the Cruiserweights in the pre-show. That's stupid, and yeah, that's just really stupid. Like, Aries and Neville deserved to be on the main WrestleMania card. If any match on the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal deserves to be on the pre-show, but if any other match deserved to be on the pre-show, it was probably the Smackdown Women's title match, because that match is a schmoz to begin with. Or if you weren't going to do that match on the pre-show, let me actually look at the code on my phone. You could have done, I would say maybe, that match, because I can't really think of any other match on here. But Aries and Neville did not deserve the pre-show. They have done enough to earn their own match on the WrestleMania card. It just kind of sucks that Austin Aries' first WrestleMania is going to be on the pre-show, and Neville's first WrestleMania is going to be on the pre-show. So, yeah. If any match deserved to be on the pre-show, it was the SmackDown Women's title match. So then Roman Reigns comes out and cuts a promo. And they were in Philadelphia, so Roman Reigns got a huge boo because this is where he won the Royal Rumble. And he talks about that. He talks about, how he won the Royal Rumble here. He's main evented 2 WrestleManias, which got him a huge amount of boos. And then Roman Reigns says that he thought those would be the biggest match in his career, but he says that he's going into the biggest match in his career facing The Undertaker. And he says that, that this has always been his job. This has been his win, and he said that he's not going to let anybody take it from him, including The Undertaker. He doesn't care who you are and what you do. And he mentions, like, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, and everybody, which I thought was really cool. He mentions, like, all the top stars, and he says that this is his yard. And then The Undertaker's gong goes off, and Undertaker comes up through the screen, and he's digging the hole, and there's actually a hole made for Roman Reigns now, and he talks about how you talk about this as your yard, but this has been my yard for many years. I'm the one that's the big dog. And he says that at WrestleMania, Roman Reigns is going to rest in peace, and the Roman Empire is going to fall. I actually thought, it was great by Undertaker, and he says that Roman Reigns will. And then the lights go out, and we hear the Undertaker, and the lights go out for a long-ass time, and then when the lights come back on, Undertaker's in the ring. Roman Reigns looks behind him. They have a little bit of a face-off, and then Taker says, "Rest in peace." And then Taker the lights go out, which it took a while for the lights to go out, and then it goes to commercial break. So I thought they set this up pretty perfectly. And I do kind of want to see this match at WrestleMania. I don't really care for the in-ring aspects of this match. The in-ring aspects of this match will probably suck, but it's kind of something about more. I don't know if... I know Taker's not in shape and everything, but I just don't really see Undertaker stinking up the joint at WrestleMania. I mean, it's Undertaker at WrestleMania match. It's Roman Reigns. I can't... They can deliver a passable match. It probably won't be like the greatest Undertaker match of all time. And if I was WWE, I actually would book this match to be in the main event, because I don't know what else match can be in the main event. You're not going to main event the WWE title match, which I'll talk about later on in this video. That Universal title match can't main event. Seth Rollins Triple H is more of like a middle, like kind of like that, normally like an upper mid card match where it's going to be that match in the middle of the show. You don't really want to have the, obviously, I mean, I can't really think of anything else that can main event the show. So, and you don't want to have Cena's match main event in the show, please. Then we had the next match. It was a tag team match. It was Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. Enzo Amore and Big Cass come out doing their stick. Big Cass talks about practice. They were talking about practice, how this match is just a practice for him. So they kind of do that thing, and then Big Cass, when he was talking, I thought really brought it. And then eventually Gallows and Anderson come out. And before the match starts, Sheamus and Cesaro run out, and they attack Gallows and Anderson from behind with the ladder, which I really think made sense, because that's kind of like no-selling the injuries. Cesaro was taped up, though, so that was a nice touch. And they get in the win and beat up Big Cass, but then eventually Gallows and Anderson get the upper hand. Cesaro actually ended up hitting a sick uppercut right on Enzo Amore when he went to go off the steps. And then eventually Big Cass started to fire away. He took out Cesaro and Sheamus with big boots. And then eventually he grabs the ladder. Gallows and Anderson ambush him from behind, take him out with a knee, and just hit him in the back with the ladder. And then they hit Enzo with the ladder, and he falls off the turnbuckle. And Gallows and Anderson stand tall. And it looked like this is going to be the ladder match at WrestleMania, which I actually really wouldn't complain that match. You got Cesaro, who's really good in the ring, and he can do some innovative stuff with the ladder. Gallows and Anderson could do some cool things. Sheamus could do some cool things. Big Cass can do some cool things. And you got Enzo Amore, who's not the best in the ring, but when it comes to selling shit, he's really great at that. So I'm pretty interested to seeing if this. But they didn't announce it though. But they have to do this match in a ladder match now. They brought out the ladder. They were using it all night. Why wouldn't they? So it really wouldn't make any sense if they didn't. Even though it seems like the Smackdown Women's title match deserves the ladder match. Then we had our next women's rights video package that they did. This is going to be the last one. And they ended up doing Maya Angelou. Yeah, let's not do anyone that actually has to do with like WrestleMania. Let's not do anyone like that. I get you want to do like some other people too, but you do have WrestleMania coming up. Why wouldn't you use somebody that's been with wrestling? Really make a whole lot of sense. But they kind of just talk about everything that she's done, how she made the big speech in 1993, talking about a big story, her stuff with the civil rights with Martin Luther King Jr., stuff like that. She was a big poet and artist and stuff like that. I mean, it's not that I didn't care, but I think I was just kind of clocked out of the show at this point. So then I would say from here on is when the show kind of like got better. Kevin Owens got interviewed, and he talks about how he was not ever a Chris Jericho fan, and he said that he was never Chris Jericho's best friend, and he kind of trashes him for a while, and then he trashes Sami Zayn, saying that if it's gonna feel great to see Sami Zayn have to go home to his family and say that he's not a WWE superstar anymore, and then to be able to take out Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. So I kind of liked what they did there. And then we had the pretty much the main event match on the show. It was a no disqualification match, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And if Sami Zayn wins, he gets into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania, and if he loses, he's fired. I'll admit though, this match does get. We've seen this match a lot, but at least here they did different stuff in this match. They did innovative stuff. The no DQ stipulation allowed them to be able to do some innovative stuff. So it wasn't. They did enough different stuff where the match didn't get old. But Owens and Zayn attack each other. Owens dominates the first half of the matchup, and then Zayn fights him on the outside. Owens throws a t-shirt at him, and then Owens and Zayn start fighting on the outside of the ring. Zayn goes to hit his moonsault off the barricade, but Owens pushes him into the crowd, and they start fighting into the crowd. Zayn throws Owens into the the hockey rails, and then Owens throws Zayn a couple of times into the announcer's table, and then eventually Zayn hits a flip dive off the stage, which was really cool. And then they start fighting by the ring, and Sami Zayn goes to hit a suplex off the steps, but Owens counters with a DDT, and then Owens hits a senton off the steps onto Zayn, and he dominates the matchup for a while, and then eventually he hits a couple of splashes in the corner. Zayn catches him when he goes for another one into an exploder into the corner, and Sami Zayn makes his comeback, and he goes for the he hits the DDT through the ring post that he likes to hit, and then he goes for the haluva kick. Owens counters into a super kick himself. Zayn kicks out, and then Sami Zayn starts to make a comeback. He then goes for the haluva kick, but then Samoa Joe comes out and he grabs a weapon, and then Chris Jericho's music hits, and Jericho attacks Joe from behind. Owens attacks Jericho, knocking him down, and then Zayn beats him with a roll-up. So he ends up advancing into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which is kind of cool. And then eventually Owens attacks him. Jericho hits Owens with the chair, and he fights him off. And then he grabs the mic and he says, "You know what happens to people who betray Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens? You just made the list." So Kevin Owens finally made the list of Jericho, which is something that we had wanted to see for a while. So I thought that was awesome, and I liked all this, even though I knew Jericho was going to come out and interfere. It made sense. Obviously, you had to have Jericho get something going into WrestleMania because I expect Owens to walk out United States champion, so you had to make Chris Jericho look strong. Something I'm mad about, though, is that Samoa Joe has no WrestleMania match. I expect him to interfere either in this match or the Triple H Seth Rollins match. Probably, most likely, both matches. Probably not this match, but probably the Seth Rollins Triple H match, and then somebody will come out, maybe Finn Balor will return and attack Samoa Joe, which actually would be interesting. Or maybe Samoa Joe last minute will enter himself into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and win it, which really wouldn't really be a good utilization for Samoa Joe. I definitely see him interfering in the Seth Rollins Triple H match, though. But I am kind of mad he didn't really get a big match this year at WrestleMania. He definitely deserved that spot. I get there's not really a lot of stars you can work with. Roman Reigns is busy. Seth Rollins is busy. Sami Zayn, they've only done that match enough. Had they not done that match again, they would have been able to get away with it here. So, they could have easily thrown Sami Zayn at him, and I actually kind of wanted what happened was Sami Zayn to win, and then Sami Zayn said, "You know what? I want to get back at you, Samoa Joe, for attacking me 3 weeks." But then, there's no need to do that match anymore. They've kind of blown the whale with that. Then we had the main event segment on the show. It was the face-off between Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. And Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out. Paul Heyman pretty much cuts this promo talking about how Brock Lesnar is going to absolutely annihilate Goldberg. How Goldberg's this great icon and he's this great hero. Lesnar's just going to annihilate him. And then Goldberg comes out and says, "No one came here to watch us talk. So they came to see us fight. So let's fight." Goldberg rushes the ring, spears Brock Lesnar, and that ended the show. This did not belong in the main event slot of Raw. If anything belonged in the main event slot, it was the Seth Rollins Triple H contract signing. I get that, just because this did not feel like it belonged in the main event of the show, and it just, yeah. What a shitty Universal Champion Goldberg was. He only showed up twice. He did shit with this title. And there's no reason he should have held this title. This match shouldn't be for the title, like I've talked about several times. but it's gonna be for the title, so nothing I can do about it. Overall, yeah. So that's just how it is. The segment, I didn't really care for it just because of the fact that you know, it's involving a title match I don't care about, and it's Paul Heyman coming out saying the same thing he did all the time. Goldberg doing the same shit. So yeah, that's just what I thought of this segment. It's predictable. I kind of expected this would happen, and I don't really get. I get you had to make Goldberg look strong because Lesnar needs to win this Sunday. Because now if Lesnar doesn't win this Sunday, it's even stupider. But I don't get when Goldberg lays him the fuck out. Like, why doesn't Lesnar, being the guy that he is, get in the ring and beat the shit out of him? That's something that Lesnar should be doing. He should have done that when he got eliminated at the Rumble. Just beat the piss out of Goldberg. You know, I don't really get why they made Brock Lesnar look so vulnerable against Goldberg. I mean, this is the guy that broke the fucking Undertaker streak, and he's afraid of Goldberg. A guy that hasn't wrestled in 12 years. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but I guess it is what it is. So overall, I thought Raw was a average show, and here's why. This is the go-home show of Monday Night Raw, the last chance for at least Raw to hype me up to watch WrestleMania, and this show was average. I get I wasn't gonna going to get a lot of wrestling on this show just because of the fact that you don't really want to have a lot of guys wrestling going into WrestleMania, but you can have guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens take these big spots because they never get injured. So yeah, but I'm just kind of looking at the show. I like what they did with Taker and Reigns. I don't know if they really did enough to want to actually excite me to see this match. I'm already kind of excited to see it anyways, but I feel like they could have done better with that. They could have done worse, though. I like what they did building up to the Raw Tag Title match, sort of, but it wasn't, like I said, not really enough. They at least touched on everything they needed to touch on. Like the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that over-the-top rope challenge was a waste of time. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. This just came off like an average show. It didn't really feel like a go-home show going into WrestleMania. It just kind of felt like it was average. I expected better from what I got, and it didn't really deliver. They didn't really deliver. Like I expected this show to really knock it out of the park, but the first match on the show was just a basic. It's like they're not building to WrestleMania. They're building to a no-name pay-per-view. It doesn't really feel like WrestleMania is coming up this Sunday by watching this show. So that's how I feel about Raw. It's an average show because this is the go-home show for WrestleMania. I think it's an average show regardless, actually, because I don't even think I would even qualify this as an average show going into any other pay-per-view. So that's what I personally think. I get you don't want to have a lot of people wrestle matches and stuff because you don't really want to have everyone getting hurt before WrestleMania. But they could have done better, and they should have done better. And now that the Cruiserweight title match is on the pre-show, it kind of pisses me off a little bit. You have this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal I don't care about even more. So it's just kind of, whatever. So that's what I thought of Raw. If I had to rate Raw, I would rate it a 5 out of 10. It was just a very average show. Okay, so now on to Smackdown for March 28th, 2017. I'm going to start off by doing what I normally do and give you my preview of Smackdown. And I expect Smackdown actually to be better than Raw, just because Smackdown normally is better than Raw, and I expect Smackdown's WrestleMania go-home show to actually feel like a WrestleMania go-home show. And by the looks, because I was reading the thing earlier, by the looks of it, it actually looks like we're going to get a pretty damn good Smackdown. I actually am looking forward to it. I do, and, I'm just interested in Smackdown for this week. I think Smackdown will deliver, and I expect it to. Raw disappointed me, so let's see if Smackdown can beat Raw. It just has to be a 5 out of 10 record. So let's see if it can do just that. So let me just read the articles that I have on it. So the first one is called WWE Champion Bray Wyatt will battle former follower Luke Harper tonight. Luke Harper will literally meet his maker on SmackDown Live tonight when battles his former leader, WWE Champion Bray Wyatt. Less than a week ago, before the Ultimate Thrill Ride, will Harper be able to put a massive dent into the new Face of Fear's WrestleMania momentum as he prepares for his clash against Randy Orton, or will the Reaper of Souls exhibit his dominance over the backwoods brawler and ride the wave into Orlando for his title defense? Find out tonight on SmackDown Live. So I'm actually really interested in this matchup. It's a matchup we had wanted for years: Bray Wyatt versus Luke Harper. You know, they were both in the Wyatt family together, so I'm actually really interested in that. This is a match that should be happening at WrestleMania, and Luke Harper should be a part of this Wyatt family triple threat with Randy Orton. But you know, I'm happy we're at least getting the match. I guess I'm just kind of pissed at what they did, that they shafted Luke Harper out of there. But anyhow, the next article was called WrestleMania Contract Signing for AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon tonight. After hurling Shane McMahon's head through a car window, AJ Styles gained the ire of the SmackDown Live commissioner, as well as an opportunity to face him at WrestleMania. Last week, Shane O'Mac retaliated by treating him to his patented flying elbow onto the announce table. Just few days away from what is sure to be an intense showdown, who will walk into the Ultimate Thrill Ride with momentum? Will things become unstable on the final SmackDown Live before the showcase of the Immortals? Don't miss the official contract signing between McMahon and Styles tonight. So that should be pretty interesting. Even though I think AJ Styles should be facing off against a better opponent at WrestleMania, it will be interesting to see what happens between him and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. Well, in the contract signing tonight, and he still is. He has like the second most featured match of SmackDown. Anyways, he's working with the boss's son, so you know. All right, so then continue. Well, I shouldn't say the owner's son actually. The next article was called Miz TV to present the final of the lost Total Bellas footage. So I'll just read this one. Last week, The Miz and Maurice unveiled never before seen footage of Total Bellas to mark their WrestleMania opponents. John Cena and Nikki Bella. WWE.com has learned the A-list couple will present the final on Miz TV tonight. Well, the finale on Miz TV tonight. However, will the leader of the C Nation and his fearless girlfriend have anything to say about it as they prepare to throw down at the Ultimate Thrill Ride? Don't care about this. I'm actually dreading this segment. But when the Miz TV segment happens, I expect Miz to bring it, and I expect Cena to bring it, and I expect the woman to just be there. So, not being sexist, but that's just what's going to happen. And then the last article was called Who Will Step Up en route to the SmackDown Women's Title Free-for-All at the Show of Shows. At WrestleMania, every available woman on the SmackDown Live roster will challenge SmackDown Women's Champion Alexa Bliss. With the illustrious title so close to the fingertips of the entire division, it's no wonder that Becky Lynch's match against Carmella descended into a blue brand free-for-all last Thursday night. This week, the Irish Lash Kicker will once again take on the Princess of Staten Island. But will the result be any different? Find out Tuesday if Bedlam once again takes hold in this high-stakes prelude to WrestleMania. And then that's it. Have no interest in seeing that SmackDown Women's Title match. It's just a schmoz, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that personally, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. That's all they have for SmackDown. I expect them to build up to announce more participants in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Build up the IC title match. I'm not really sure what else to expect, but I think SmackDown's going to be really good. You have, Miz and Cena going to be on the show, and even though I don't care about that match, I think they're going to really bring it tonight. We have Shane and AJ Styles, and we have Wyatt versus Luke Harper in a match I really wanted to see. So I think SmackDown will deliver a really good show on the go home show before WrestleMania. So I can't wait to see SmackDown, and now that I've discussed it, I'm going to go watch it in about 3 hours, and I'll come back on here and give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so on to the actual show itself. We had Tom Phillips, JBO, and David Otunga on commentary for this show, and it opens up with the contract signing between AJ Styles and Shane McMahon, and Daniel Bryan brings them both out, and Shane McMahon hypes up AJ Styles. He talks about how when they were putting together SmackDown Live, they wanted to have AJ Styles, and AJ Styles, his first year in the WWE, made a huge name for himself, and he talks about how when he had walked in the door a year ago, everybody started chanting his name, and he was WWE champion, but then he got to be a little bit too cocky. He lost the title shot, and he lost the right to wrestle at WrestleMania. So he says that you got upset about it and you decided to attack me from behind. And then he said that he's going to learn that at WrestleMania it isn't going to be a walk in the park, and that you're in for a tough ride. I thought he had a pretty good promo. And then AJ Styles fires back by saying, you realize what you're signing for, right? You're not signing for a Hell in a Cell match. You're not signing for a Falls Count Anywhere match. You're signing for a regular wrestling match, which means that there's countouts and disqualifications. And he talks about how he's the best in the world. And he says that he is going to carry Shane McMahon in the ring. Then he continues by saying that Shane McMahon has wrestled all the greats, but he's never wrestled anybody like me. And then he signs the contract, and then they get into a face-off. Styles tips the table over, and they're about to fight, but then Daniel Bryan steps in between them, and he says, no, we're going to wait till WrestleMania, and he wants them to shake hands, which the crowd boos him for, and Shane McMahon reaches his hand out, but AJ Styles just walks out of the ring and leaves, and he says that he'll see him Sunday. And overall, I thought this was actually a pretty good opening segment here, and it was actually nearly the best thing on the show until after what happens later on in the show. But this was a really good opening segment. I thought it was a nice way to build up to AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. And it is kind of weird that this match is just going to be a regular singles one-on-one match instead of a like a Falls Count Anywhere match or a street fight or a Hell in a Cell, a steel cage match, something like that. So that is kind of weird. So because I don't think Shane McMahon ever has been in like a regular one-on-one match. But I definitely think the match will still deliver. It's kind of weird that that's going to happen. I still think Shane McMahon will have a spot where he jumps off something huge, because I think maybe like the referee will get knocked down or something. Because when you have a Shane McMahon match, you have to have that spot. So then we had the first actual match on the show. It was Becky Lynch versus Carmella with James Ellsworth ringside, and we had Becky Lynch and Mickie James on commentary for this match. And the match really doesn't go very far. Eventually, Becky Lynch and Mickie James keep talking shit to each other, so eventually they just get into a fight and they stop brawling. And then Mickie James hits Carmella, which means that she wins the match by disqualification. So then Becky Lynch fights off Carmella. Mickie James fights off Alexa Bliss. So then it gets turned into a tag team match. Becky Lynch and Mickie James versus Carmella and Alexa Bliss with James Ellsworth ringside. And Becky Lynch and Mickie James dominate the matchup for a while. And then eventually the heels get the heat on Mickie James. Because I guess she just turned face on the show. I think she was working the face in this match, considering the fact that this was in her hometown tonight. So I thought that made sense. I don't know if she's necessarily a face or not. And during the match, Natalya comes out to do guest commentary, And then eventually Becky Lynch gets a hot tag on Carmella, starts hitting all her moves on her. Then eventually Natalya distracts the referee, and James Ellsworth pulls down Becky Lynch, and Carmella beats her with a roll-up. And that was that. I thought this was fine. And then afterwards, the heels put the boots to Mickie James and Becky Lynch, and Naomi returns, which I was surprised about. And she hits a Hurricanrana on Natalya, and she attacks Carmella and Alexa Bliss and beats the crap out of them, throws them out of the ring. And Naomi gets on the mic and announces that she's back, and she's going to walk into WrestleMania in her hometown and win the Smackdown Women's Championship. So overall, I thought the segment was fine. It was a nice way to build up to the Smackdown Women's title match, which is now, as we find out, is just going to be a regular six-pack challenge. It's just going to be whoever gets the first fall wins. A couple of problems I have with this is the fact that they just gave away Naomi's return on TV instead of waiting until WrestleMania maybe to do it in her hometown, where she would have gotten a huge reaction. I thought that was dumb. And the fact, that this match is just a match with a bunch of women thrown together, and everybody is so upset that this match is on the pre-show, but to be honest, this match deserves to be on the pre-show. Just because of the fact that you have, just because it's a match that really doesn't have a lot of storyline behind it, and it's just a match with just to get people on the card. So, why would this match belong on the actual card? I actually am fine with it being on the pre-show. And then Daniel Bryan's backstage, and he's on the phone with Brie Bella, and he says, "Hold on, Brie, your sister just walked in." And we see Breezy Bella, best known being portrayed by Tyler Breeze, and he tries to insert himself into the SmackDown Women's Championship match, but then he says, "No, that's not happening." So then Fandango comes. So then he takes it off and reveals that it's Tyler Breeze, and Daniel Bryan's just like, "Tyler Breeze, when did you show up?" And then Fandango walks up and says, "Did he buy it?" And he says, "No, he didn't buy it." So he's like, "I guess we're not getting to be put on WrestleMania." So then Daniel Bryan inserts them into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he inserts them into a 10-man tag team match. That's also going to have competitors from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So I thought that was fine, and this was alright. It was actually kind of funny. But then we had Biz TV, the finale of the unaired footage of Total Bellas. So the Miz and Maurice come out and they present the footage from Total Bellas, and it shows the Miz, who's portraying John Cena, and he says that it's time for the family dinner, and if anybody's late, they don't get to have dinner. And then Nikki Bella, being portrayed by John Cena's there, and this is just so bad I can't even remember it, not gonna lie. So I really just didn't pay attention to it. I really didn't pay much attention to this entire segment. Pretty much it's all them making fun of Cena, making fun of how he has so many rules. One thing that I thought was funny was when the Miz came in portraying Daniel Bryan, and he was really short, and and then Brie Bella walks in being portrayed by Maurice again, and she's like, "Nikki, you have my hat," and he's like, "I'm Brie," or something like that. And then Daniel was talking about how how he's a vegan, so he doesn't eat meat, so he doesn't want to eat that because it won't sit well. It will make me sick. And whatever. It continues. And pretty much it just we think that the Cena's gonna ask Nikki to marry her. He doesn't do it, so Nikki asks him, and Cena says, "I do wish you would never ask me that question because I don't really care for you all that much." Blah blah blah. And then it reveals to be the Miz and Maurice, and then the Miz and Maurice say that they're going to beat the crap out of them, and they're gonna destroy them at WrestleMania. And you're not gonna use Hollywood to forward yourself into the wrestle into for WWE. So then afterwards, John Cena and Nikki Bella come out, and this segment lasted way too long. It went through a commercial break. John Cena is acting like the typical John Cena. It doesn't really feel like it's really the John Cena that shoots on anybody too. This was very cartoony John Cena in my opinion. He had some moments where he was like shooting on Miz, but I didn't really feel that way here. He talks about how he made him laugh, but then you acted boring. He talks about how how you made up how Maurice made up the story about how Nikki Bella prevented her from becoming the WWE, but she wouldn't be standing here right now. Cena talked about how he's always loyal to the WWE. He just goes out and shoots movies every now and then, just like all these other superstars do, just like including The Miz does. Blah blah blah. And Cena says that he's gonna punch him in the face. No, Cena says that challenges Miz to punch him in the face. And Miz chooses not to, and Nikki says that they're going to beat the crap out of him at WrestleMania. Don't care about this match. Never will care about this match. It's a piece of shit. I can't believe John Cena's in this match at WrestleMania. You can tell how much I was interested in this segment because I didn't even pay attention to it. I didn't give a shit about it. And it lasted maybe like 45 minutes. Like this segment had a commercial break in between. Like when the Miz asked if Nikki could marry him and stuff when they were doing it in the show, they had to like say to be continued, and I was like, what's going on here? Like, damn. Then the next match was a 10-man tag team match. American Alpha, Beauty and the Man Beast, and Mojo Rawley versus the Usos, Breezango, and Dolph Ziggler. This was alright. The heels get the heat on Chad Gable for a while, and then eventually Mojo Rawley gets the hot tag. He starts going off on Tyler Breeze, and eventually chaos starts to ensue. Rhino hits a sick goal on Dolph Ziggler, which I thought was really cool. And then he goes to hit one on Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze takes him out, and then Mojo Rawley hits a big right hand into the corner for the win. So the face team goes over, and I didn't care. And it does announce that all these superstars, Alpha, Beauty and the Man Beast, Mojo Rawley, Usos, Breezango, and Dolph Ziggler are all going to be just thrown into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I don't know why. Mojo Rawley I'm fine with. Beauty and the Man Beast I'm fine with. Breezango I'm fine with. But you easily could have done a Smackdown tag team title match between American Alpha and the Usos at WrestleMania. Just throw it right on the pre-show. And then Dolph Ziggler, after everything he had done last year, having that great IC title match with The Miz, having that great feud with him, fighting Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship. He's just thrown into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on the pre-show and pretty much an unconsequential role. Wow. Just wow. And then Luke Harper's backstage, and he said that he tried to warn Bray Wyatt about the Viper, and he says that instead he decided to let his ego get in the way, and he decided to kick me out of the Wyatt family. Then he continues by saying that he's going to destroy Bray Wyatt tonight and ruin his chances to retain the title at WrestleMania. So then we had the match itself. It was the main event, Bray Wyatt versus Luke Harper, a match I had waited for a while. Should have happened at WrestleMania, but it happened here. And Luke Harper starts taking out Bray Wyatt at first, but then Wyatt hits the flying elbow that he likes to hit, the flying crossbody on him. And then eventually Luke Harper starts to make a comeback. He hits a bunch of splashes in the corner while he's on the barricade. Just big boots him right into the timekeeper's area. And then Bray Wyatt dominates the matchup. He hits a Uranagi into a senton, but Luke Harper kicks out. Then eventually Luke Harper starts to make a comeback. Wyatt had gone for a Sister Abigail. Harper went for one himself. Wyatt rolled out of the win, and Harper hit a bunch of suicide dives on Wyatt. And then eventually he hits a rolling senton into the win. And he hits a discus clothesline on Wyatt. Wyatt grabs the rope so the referee has to stop his count. And then eventually Wyatt just floats up right to his feet, and he just acts like he's immune to the pain that Luke Harper gave him. And then Luke Harper acts like he's still kind of under control of Bray Wyatt. So then Bray Wyatt hits the Sister Abigail on him for the win. And overall, I thought this was a really good match, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought this was going to be the end of the show, but there's more. So then afterwards, Randy Orton comes up on the screen, and he says that that now that he's standing into the burnt down compound of Sister Abigail's deceased grave, and he says that you talk about how Sister Abigail gave you her powers. Well, I am going to extinguish those powers by sticking a crucifix in you. And he does just that. And he says that he's going to take the WWE Championship from Bray Wyatt, and nobody's going to stop him. And he said that he's not going to lose this war with Bray Wyatt. So I thought that video package was an epic ending. It was a great way to end SmackDown. And yeah, overall, it was great. And I can't wait to see actually Orton versus Wyatt at Mania. Still don't think it should be for the WWE title, but whatever. And it does kind of leave you into like somewhat unpredictability about who's going to win. Is it going to be Wyatt? Is it going to be Orton? You really don't know. So then continuing with the show, now on to WWE Talking Smack. We had the panel of Renee Young and Daniel Bryan, and AJ Styles gets interviewed, and he talks about how he's facing Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. And he pretty much plays up more that Shane McMahon can't use any weapons or anything like that. And it's going to cause Shane McMahon to go delirious. He talks about how he should still have his one-on-one title match. And he's pretty much just gloating about that. Naomi gets interviewed. And she talks about how... she talks about what it was like for her to get injured. And she felt like that everything was just taken away from her, but she understands why Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon had to make that decision because it was for her health. But now she's happy to be back, and she's going to go into WrestleMania and win the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania in her hometown. It's going to feel great. And then Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin got interviewed, and they pretty much Tom Phillips tries to interview him. This was all on Talking Smack, but Baron Corbin just tells him to shut up, and he said that he's just going to leave Dean Ambrose laying again, just like he did a few weeks ago, because he likes to hurt people. And Dean Ambrose says that Baron Corbin's boring, and they pretty much exchange jabs to each other. Ambrose talks about how he's been into him with tougher dudes, and all he is just a bully, and he's going to lay him out. And Corbin says that he took his spirit, and he's going to just keep knocking him down at Elimination Chamber, and now he's going to take his Intercontinental Championship. And then Dean Ambrose says, you know what, I have a perfect way to shut you up. And he grabs a remote, and he shuts his screen off, which I thought was pretty funny. And then eventually Baron Corbin invades Talking Smack and says that all Dean Ambrose does is make jokes, and eventually that's going to cause him to get hurt, because that's what's going to happen to him at WrestleMania. And he said that he's the future of the WWE, not Dean Ambrose. And then that was it. And that was the end of the show, really. I thought SmackDown was actually a pretty good show. There was segments I enjoyed on it. I liked the contract signing between AJ Styles and Shane McMahon. I thought the stuff they did with the women's division was okay. The 10-man tag match was okay, but I could have done without it. And then the main event I thought was really good, and then Talking Smack I thought was good. Not great, but good. The only thing I really hated on the show was the Miz TV segment, and since that took up a lot of the show, that makes me kind of like rate SmackDown just as a good show, because this was like the longest segment of the show, and it just kept going on and on and on. So if I had to rate SmackDown, I would probably rate SmackDown a 6 out of 10. I just thought it was a good show, not a great show, but a good show. So SmackDown did end up beating Raw, which I thought was pretty interesting, just because of the fact that, both shows kind of was well, SmackDown was good, but Raw was just average at best. And yeah, so this is it. When I come back to do this show again next week, I will be, when I come back to do the show again next week, I will be out of that. So let me say that when I come to do the show again next week, WrestleMania will be over, and it will be some very interesting episodes, because it's going to be the Raw and SmackDowns after WrestleMania. It's going to be interesting to see how they deliver. So yeah, I may come on here. I'm not sure. I haven't really decided yet and do a preview and predictions to WrestleMania this Sunday. I haven't really decided yet. I'm thinking about it most likely, but I'm not exactly entirely sure yet. So I will have to get back to you on that. I'll make a status on the Facebook page, on Facebook about it and stuff. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do a preview and predictions to WrestleMania. I still haven't decided that too much yet. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty interesting. And yeah, I thought SmackDown was better than Raw. And the question is did these shows do enough to really hype me up to want to see WrestleMania? I'm gonna say probably not. They really just kind of made it the same. What did make it up is it is WrestleMania coming. I am gonna start to, as it gets closer. I probably will get excited about it just because it's WrestleMania and it's my version of the Super Bowl because everybody else has their things that they watch for the Super Bowl. So I'll say I am actually pretty excited for WrestleMania. I think with WrestleMania, with the matches are going to be really good. Booking decisions are probably going to be questionable, and that will probably be what hurts WrestleMania. It's probably going to be the booking. But if they have good booking, and good wrestling, then WrestleMania has a chance to deliver. But we don't know that yet. And it all has to do with card structure too. So we're going to have to wait and see if WrestleMania can deliver this Sunday. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and my own The Talkinator and my channel where I ended up reviewing Get Out. So make sure to check that out. So get out of this channel and review that. And go check out that channel and check out my review of that. And make sure to check out my Wrestling Fortune 44 channel where I post other videos that pertain to WWE and stuff like that. So, and make sure to check out this channel for more What's Better, Raw or SmackDown series and other videos like that. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.